Welcome to part 2 of this interview with Mike and Candy. If you haven't seen part 1, please check it out. Thanks. Have you thought about upgrading the suspension to the MoRide and getting some shocks?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, because we just don't.
You don't do that
I just
much?
don't do enough. So putting a lot of money in the rig that I'm not going to get back out just doesn't make sense to me right now.
Okay.
I am going to box in the leaf springs and that, have that done just for the to make it more solid. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got the track system on it, so it tracks fairly well when you're backing in, but that only helps you when you're backing in. So.
Yeah.
I think something else I would recommend is a surge protector.
Mm-hmm.
Every rig should have a surge protector.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always had one. When we traded in our 24 footer, which was a 30 amp, to this 50 footer, I bought it right then at Camping World. I know that I can get it cheaper, but we were going from there to a park for the next 6 days, basically.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
And then I actually, at that park, that a year later, we went back to the same state park because we had to leave because we bought this big camper. We went back to the same state park. I still had my 30 amp with me. And there was a guy, brand new camper, and I said, you really need to get one of those and talk to him about it, get the surge protector. And I said, I have one. And I said, you can look it up. He looked it up and he goes, oh yeah, they're like this much money. I said, yep. I said, I'll sell you this one for this. And he said, here's the money.
Done.
Because he
Done.
just, once you look up the video and you see the damage it can cause,
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
we
that's
had
damage that the park's not responsible for, even though it's their wiring.
We had brownouts the night we got here.
Really?
Yep.
It,
you go.
The electricity just kept going off.
Yeah.
Well, the 50 amp doesn't work on our post.
We
So
only
it
need
says
30.
amp only. We only need 30 amp.
Okay.
But we plug, because I always plug it in, and we have the, I guess it's a surge protector.
Yeah,
anyway.
dog
I
bone.
Plug that in, turn it on, and check it, and it was okay. And then I plugged in the electric, and as soon as I plugged it in, it was kind of misting, raining, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, within 20 minutes, it went off. Everything went off. And we were
The
like,
power reset in my Victron.
heck, But it
that's
didn't
the-
come back on right away.
Right.
The second time it came back on right away, but it was still everything reset, so we were like,
The next day it was okay, and it's been that way ever since. So,
Yeah.
Just the
those are
protection
very
it
important to
gives you.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the protection and the peace of mind of that, with that. And I think another hack is, it only happens when we come to this location here at Peace River. I go to back in and 6 people come out and want to help me back in, which I love that. But I'm going to listen to my partner. She's going to talk me to it. If someone tells me you need to stop, I'll probably stop and then look at her and then have her verify. But I'm going to listen to her all the way in. And so,
We just did that over there.
be very, very cautious of that. Ask the people if they need help. Got a guy back in here by himself. You need help? He's like, could you? Okay. Then you go assist. I think, and
Well, the guy in the Ghost over there actually offered to
yes.
back it in for him, and he did.
oh,
And
okay.
the guy was lost. He was
Yeah.
turning the wrong way.
No way. Yeah, didn't know how to do
A
it.
fifth wheel.
the big
I've
Montana. The big
our
one.
very first camping trip. We
Oh, I
we
miss my boys.
we took our brand new trailer to Fort Wilderness. Then from Fort Wilderness, we came to 1,000 Trails in Claremont. So that was our trip. We're there. This older gentleman has got a brand new fifth wheel, brand new truck. And Fort Wilderness, if you've never been there, is like, if you can't back it in Fort Wilderness, you need to just drive
Yeah.
away. They're on 45-degree angles. All the roads face the same way. It's all one-way roads. They're super easy to pull up, paved, just beautiful. There's not a tree branch in your way. You got to mess it apart. Well, he had gotten turned around and actually disconnected his safety thing, and he would go, I don't understand him, because the tires were just locked up, and he was driving down the road looking at it. And I got out and I asked him if he could help. We were already set up. And he goes, yeah. I said, check your safety switch. He goes, what's that? He didn't even know what it was. He had it hooked up, and he was in such a bind, it caught on his fifth wheel handle and pulled out. Well, I plugged it back in for him, and he goes, I'm going to go back and see if they get me another site. I said, well, they're all like this.
Yeah.
And I said, where's your site? And he was like 5 sites down. And I said, you want me to help you get in? He goes, could you back it in? And I'm like, I think so. I've never backed in a fifth wheel before, but I'm pretty sure I can do it for you. And he said, okay. And I hopped in his truck. And his wife was in the truck. I hopped in, and she didn't even say a word. And I'm like, hi. I'm like, she scared me to death. I jumped. She was just a little old lady. I mean, the truck seat ate her up. And so anyway, he was like 3 sites back. My boys ran over. I backed it up, and I put it in for him and helped him set up. And he's like, oh, I'm so thankful. I said, so when you came in, how did you back in? Well, he was on the wrong side of the road. Instead of being next to the site, he was over on the left-hand side, and then tried to back in at that angle.
Thought he needed the room.
Yeah, needed the room instead of pulling next to your site or into the driveway of your site, pull forward and back in. So I think that's when you go to help people, ask if they need help first. Don't assume they do.
But that community, the people that are
Yes.
willing to help, I mean, that's the good part of it. But
Yes.
there are those people
Yep.
that will just, I mean, we've had people, hey, do you want us to back this in for you? No, we got this. It's okay.
Yes.
It may take us a time or two, but we got it.
Yeah.
We know our trailer. Y'all know your trailer.
Exactly.
So
The takeaway would be ask for help if you need it,
If
Yep.
you need it.
offer help if they ask for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can just kind of stand there and watch out, make sure they don't hit. We have a lot of overhanging trees. Like, hey, you're into that branch and you might not know it.
Yeah.
But don't start telling them, do this, do that, and just to,
It's
ignore your
confusing when you're
partner.
frustrated
Yep.
already.
And I have found phones work a lot better than walkie-talkies because they're immediate.
Well, they work here
Yes.
because you have service.
Yes.
True.
If you're out in Arizona, they
Yes.
might not work
Yes.
where you're at.
True. Definitely.
So
I've
do
got
you,
walkie-talkie. She doesn't know it yet.
do you have a backup camera remote on your?
I do not.
Right.
It is wired for one, but I have not put it on.
Okay,
Yeah.
we are too.
Yeah.
We have a
So-
Cougar.
That's an option I would like, but it's just one of those expensive options that is it worth is the bang worth it for the few times that we go.
Maybe when
I'm
you go
a fairly confident driver.
Yeah.
I'm confident in her ability to know what I can and can't do, and her to be able to instruct me where to go. And there's times we get in binds, and I'm like, hold on, let's just talk about this, and get out. And we're not the ones that have arguments when you're backing in and say, I'm sorry for what I said when we're backing in. I get out and I go, what are you trying to get me to do? And how can I help you get me wherever I'm going? Because we've been to some really tight sites.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're going to have to come in this way and do this and do that. Especially with this, we don't get in such tight sites as much. But with our other 2 campers, man, we put that in some really tight spots. And it
Tight
was,
places.
yeah, it's just, listening to her and taking your time. Don't get in a hurry because there's somebody behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rear view camera is good for going down the road, changing lanes also.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially my rig at 150, I can't see around the trailer.
Right.
I don't have the extended mirrors.
Fortunately, I've got the mirrors, the tow mirrors
Yep.
on that.
Yep.
Hence, part of the reason why I bought that truck.
Yeah.
I bought that truck for working purposes, not for towing a bigger camper.
Yeah.
But then I had the bigger camper. That's how we got it.
Yeah.
It's like,
If I'd have had what I had before, I'd
It
be like,
works.
can't get that fifth wheel, can't tow it.
exactly.
What else?
So the trust between the driver and the spotter,
It
you know,
has
you
to
got to
be
have
there.
that. So
It has to
that's important. So what would you consider your best experience and your worst experience?
Camping?
In an RV.
Anything.
We've had so many good, very good camping experiences. I say worst experience with RV was the tires blown out.
Yes.
That
Oh,
is, they damage your rig when that happens.
It's
you know,
scary on the side of the road with
scary
other
on the
vehicles
side of the
going
road.
by.
Yeah, they get so close.
They do. And with having the tall fifth wheel, it rocks so bad.
Yeah, and you're only on one wheel and a jack, and they're independent, so it just really does move a lot. Like I said, we had 3 campers. My first camper never had a flat tire, nothing with it. The second camper, I had 1 flat tire, and it had nothing to hit a board that was in the road that had nails in it from a construction truck.
Yes.
Missed it with the truck, missed the front wheel, hit the back wheel. So that's probably the worst experience. I've never
Flat
really
tires.
had in campgrounds. I've never had bad experiences. I mean, I've had a few bad experiences. I had some bunch of kids were camping at a site. We were at a state park, and I'm trying to back in, and this guy pulls and parks his car right where I need to be, and I'm like, "Can you move your car?" And there's 6 cars on the site, and
Yeah, I think that is a bad thing. Is when
he's
people
like,
don't give you
"No."
the room you need.
I'm not going to. So that was a pretty tough spot to get into. And then just that attitude. And they were there for the weekend, and they were there to drink all weekend. So, it's not the normal RV community.
Yeah,
So,
right. Exactly. So
but our
we
best
can partner.
experience,
Yes.
be camping with friends.
Yeah.
We had friends. Their kids were the same ages as ours. They they went with us several different trips. Florida Caverns, Thousand
Rainbow
Trails,
River.
Sun and Fun. We just got pictures of all 6 of our kids doing goofy stuff.
Those were
We've stayed in
Yes,
we
they
stayed in state
are.
parks together, camping with friends and making friends when you're camping. Like we met you guys on this trip, and just a few times we've got to talk. We made friends with a couple other people, and just talking to them and their neighbors around us, just sitting around talking and having a good time. By far the best experiences. We've gone to neat places, but the people that you meet and the things that you do,
Yeah.
really really fun. But
And
It's all
a
about
lot of
people.
those become
It is.
lifelong
Yes.
friendships,
Yes.
I mean, if you're, depending on the ages and stuff, but, you go from park to park, and if you're full-time, it's like, hey,
Right.
where are you guys going next? Where are you
Yeah.
going to be in a month? And
Exactly.
so the friends that they still work full time like us. They're about the same retirement age. I think we're a couple of years older than them, but it's like, next time you're going to Claremont, let us know. We're going to see if we can go for the weekend. And we're like, well, let us know if your guys are going. And so we, changed numbers. We're on Facebook friends with each other now. So it's like, hey, we're going to go.
Yeah.
So like they're coming to the RV show, and they're like, hey, we're
Planning
staying
on
in this
meeting up.
campground. And I'm like,
We're
yeah.
staying at home.
I said, you're staying 40 minutes away, and we're staying 30 minutes away in our house.
Right?
So we're probably not going to camp that weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Well, have y'all found like meal planning or organization in the rigs and stuff? Have you found any?
Before we do go camping, I always sit down and make a menu of what kind of breakfasts do you want, what kind of lunches, what kind of dinners, and prepare that way. Do we always make those meals? No.
But at least you have an
No.
idea.
I have an
idea.
idea of what I need to shop for, what I need to pack, and what needs to be brought. I mean, we're pretty self-sustained in there, so I don't have to transport everything from the house to the camper and then back.
Right.
So that really helps too.
Do you have a residential fridge?
Yes.
Yeah, that helps.
Yes.
And so, like, depending on where the trip is, ours did not come pre-wired to run through the inverter when we're driving down the road to keep it on, which I think is a fault by the manufacturer. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
But they didn't. So, I mean, I can change that, and I'm thinking about changing it because it's got its own dedicated switch for the refrigerator. So to change it to the inverter is not a really big deal. But we just don't take those long trips. When we went to Indiana last year, we just didn't pack any food. We
We knew there was grocery stores.
we knew our
around.
weekend. We were going back to 1,000 Trails that she grew up going to. It was the bucket list trip for us. We spent 7 days at the 1,000 Trails that we grew up going to, and when our kids were born, we took them camping. That's where we started
Yeah.
camping, and then we went to the state park that I grew up going to my entire life in a 28-footer with my mom and dad. And so we stayed the last 3 days of our trip at that state park. So it was
So
a
y'all
big
have a
bucket list
history.
item.
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We do.
Camping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I've with my parents, and I've been to South Dakota, been to Mount Rushmore, been to Myrtle Beach. We stayed at a campground. I don't know if it's still there. If it's there, it would be awesome to be able to find it again. But we backed up, and the back of our trailer was over the sand dunes. I would get up in the morning to go look for. My mom would wake me up every day at 6 o'clock, and I would open the back emergency door. This one had an emergency door. I'd open that emergency door and jump out in the sand. And I was probably 12 years old,
Yeah.
and I would just go on the beach the entire day. You know, smell breakfast being cooked, find my way back and eat, of course. But what a just a great trip, just a great trip.
You
of
always
that.
grew up going in a camper, where I grew up going in a tent or in a cabin, staying in a cabin
We had a little
and fishing.
Yeah.
We
we had a
loved to
little
fish.
we had a little pop-up camper, and I got 5 older brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So we had a little pop-up camper that I can remember when I was young. But by the time I was 5 or 6, they went to the 28-footer,
Yeah.
and would take all of us. We would go all over. But my
Wow.
uncles all camped, and so we would go, and there would be, I don't know, 5 or 6 camper sites, and
Yeah.
it was all family.
Wow.
And that's
Cool.
what we would go. There was a certain KOA that we would go to. And when my daughter was born, she was born at the beginning of May, Memorial Day weekend. We spent that
Went
weekend.
camping.
She wasn't even a month old, and we were in a tent.
Intent.
And it got cold that Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
That was hard.
But my mom
It
and
was
dad
fun.
came.
It
It was
was
really
fun.
fun.
It was
fun.
Yeah, my mom and dad came and stayed with us. It was really fun. So
Good
it
memories.
ended up being a great experience,
Yeah.
which she'll never remember. But it's like, girl, you were camping before you were a month old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you-
Hopefully you took pictures.
Yes.
yes.
Yay.
We have those.
Any videos?
No videos.
No.
We didn't get a video camera until my kids were much older.
That's
Yeah.
one thing we promote to people about YouTube is start in the very beginning before you have kids.
Yes.
Start making videos.
Yep.
Yes.
Make memories for your children to watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about the settings on YouTube, but some of them, I know some of the videos you can make private,
Right.
you know, and nobody can see them unless you tell them how
Right.
to get in there. But yeah,
Yep.
it's interesting. So,
Yeah.
anything else you want to share?
I would say if you're going to look for a rig, kind of determine how you want to camp and what you want to do. And then really
Do
go to the
your
RV
research.
shows, go to, go look at a bunch. Don't go to buy, just go to look and kind of decide what you want to do. And I think now there's enough sites that you can rent campers and things like that. It might be well worth your time to rent. But for us, I mean, it's going to be a great retirement. I mean, we're going to be able to get to go do things. There's states that we've never been to together. That we want to do together and we want to go see. So, and as we have grandkids, our goal is to, fly them in for the summers and wherever we're at and take them places that their mom and dad can't because
Yeah.
they're going to be working. So,
Right.
Make those
Yeah.
memories.
and
Yep.
spoil the crud out of them while we have them.
And make videos.
And make
Give
videos.
mom and dad a break.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And y'all get
And,
to enjoy the grandkids.
And our goal is kind of have a plan every year to have them come in. So that's where is this the rig? I don't know.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I could have 6, grandkids or more.
Fingers crossed.
And possibly, we're going to be looking for something with a mid bunk or something.
Right, right. Those toy haulers with the mid bunk
yeah.
and the
One thing about little kids, they love sleeping on the floor. So
Oh, yes.
they'll always
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
have
Oh, yeah.
sleepovers.
Bags.
on the floor.
So, we're kind of looking forward to that, stage of life. So,
I wanted to ask you about cooking. Do you cook a lot? And if so, outdoors primarily?
He's
Depends.
the griller.
it depends.
I
I do
don't
all the
grill.
grilling.
He does
I do
all
all
the
the grilling. It just depends what we're having.
And the weather.
Yep, and I do cook.
Like we had pork chops last night, and he cooked chicken that's going to be for tonight. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At the same time?
at the same time.
Yeah.
Smart.
So I always have a grill of some sort on the rig. Now I kind of like this model that's on there now. It just I have the gas hookup. It's easy there. But I do cook. Do more breakfasts.
Yeah.
Not necessarily whole dinners. Other than I did cook dinner the other night, but
A lot of people are getting into the Blackstone grill, the flat grill. Or you have any thoughts on that?
not really.
They're really cheap.
Yeah, I just I like my grill. I have a pellet grill at home. I'm probably going to end up buying the Woodwind pellet travel size grill. Is probably what I'll end up doing because that is just if you like things that are smoked and things like that, and you don't want to sit there and watch it.
Right.
You can throw a roast on that thing or a turkey, and walk away 3 hours later, come back because there's no direct heat to it. So there's no flame ups, there's no fires that happen. If you're cooking like really fatty hamburgers, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
It's all computer controlled.
it's all
Yeah.
computer controlled,
Yep.
temperature controlled with the pellets. Feeds the
Yep.
pellets as needed.
Yep.
Keeps the temperature in there.
Yep.
You come back and take it off, and it's.
So what brand is that?
Mine's a Woodwind, Camp Chef.
A wood.
Yeah.
And Camp Chef.
Okay.
Camp
Cool.
Chef One Wind Grill. And I went with them instead of the Traeger or the other ones out there for the house because it came with a sear box.
Oh,
So it runs on propane, and then you can sear your meat. So it's called reverse searing. So you smoke it first, basically, cooks over the whatever flavor wood that you want in there, and there's a bunch of them. And then you throw it on. You turn that thing on, and it's hot. You throw it on there and sear it, and it's better than a steak at a steakhouse. I mean, by far. And my favorite is Sam sells the double pork chops with 2 bones in them.
Yeah.
Those are the best on that grill. I mean, I put some pretty expensive steaks on there, and those pork chops are hard to beat.
yeah.
They are really hard to beat.
You're
so.
making his mouth water. We just recently went vegan. So
Right.
He's like,
That's it for part 2. I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. It will help us out a lot. Check out part 3 coming up.